As you know, throughout the summer, we get to hear from some of our amazing congregants as they offer words of Jewish wisdom from our Bima in the months of July and August. Tonight is especially special because we get to hear from one of our congregants, but also our newest part-time staff member, Emily McCrone. Emily's been a member of Congregation Beth Am since 2018, but more recently she has been helping us out with our young adult program, The Orchard, which she will tell you more about. But it is a delight to welcome Emily to offer words this evening.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm the peer connector for The Orchard. That's the Beth Am's young adult group, as well as I'm a full-time speech pathologist at the VA in Palo Alto. My job within Beth Am consists of outreach to those within the community, as well as planning events for The Orchard. So I want to tell you a little bit about my background and how I came into this space. So I was born and raised in San Jose, and so I often get this conversation pretty repeatedly. Oh, what synagogue did you grow up in? Well, I answer, I didn't quite grow up in a synagogue, I didn't go to synagogue. Okay, so that's not technically a lie, but it's kind of an omission. Your name is pretty Irish. Is your mom Jewish? Yeah, my name is Irish. Haven't you ever heard of the Irish Jews? You know, they were the only country in Europe that never had a formal policy to expel the Jews. Kind of glazing over the question about my mom. Okay, well, what about your mom? Oh, my mom is Italian, praying that this conversation can be over because I know what's gonna come next. Oh, cool, your mom is an Italian Jew, so you're like a pizza bagel. Well, I say how trying to best discern this approach with the person I met just 5 minutes ago. I was raised Catholic. Following this, the floodgates open. Oh, you converted to Judaism. Let me tell you all about what the religion is. And finally, the big question, why be Jewish? So after 5 years of this conversation, I still don't know how best to approach it, which leads me into the discussion that I'd like to have here tonight, how best to support the exceedingly diverse and growing millennial and Jewish young adult population. You see, I'm telling you a little bit about my story tonight as a small thread within this larger community. I first became interested in possible conversion to Judaism in graduate school when I was out in Dallas in 2017, before converting in December 2018 here at Beth Am. I immediately jumped into Jewish young adult life. In 2018, I applied to be an engaged fellow at the Palo Alto JCC, where I hosted events. I then lived in a Moishe house from 2019 to 2020, putting on 7 home-based Jewish young adult programs each month in return for a living stipend. Now in 2023, I'm back to hosting events, but this time it's a little bit dearer to my heart because it's with the synagogue. I believe I was searching for a connection, and I did find it within Judaism. The rituals, the history, the people, the faith, the culture, all fit together to complete what was missing in my life. This trend is a growing trend of Jewish converts, and Jewish millennials comprise a quarter young adults in the American Jewish community, or about 1.4 million people. They are now the most diverse generation of American Jews. 1 in 5 Jewish young adults aged 18 to 34 identify as non-white. That's double the rate of American Jews overall. We don't have the numbers about conversions, but most rabbinical reports throughout different denominations of Judaism see that there has been an increase in recent years. So this brings me to the big question of how to engage Jewish millennials. We know that they are more diverse than prior generations, they're quite civic-minded, and they prioritize connection. However, when engaging the population, we need to ask the question, why be Jewish? There are so many options out there in an exceedingly a-religious world, so why be Jewish? I want to pose that question to the congregation, so can anybody shout out in 1 or 2 words why you are Jewish? Why not? I love it. That's a great answer. My mother was another wonderful answer. Community. Absolutely. Finding community. Absolutely. So this exact question was posed along with many other questions by the UJA Federation of New York, which gathered responses from a survey about 200 plus Jewish millennials, as well as did some in-depth interviews. What they exceedingly saw was that the majority of respondents stated that being Jewish was a large part of their identity. However, they were also asked about other current priorities in life. What they found was those priorities included careers and relationships, but that identity values took a back seat. A common theme was that many millennials saw Jewish programming as having to take a step back in another area of life to make room for it. And while making room for events is needed to attend them, young adult organizations such as The Orchard are aiming to make space for stepping in and meeting young adults where they are at. At The Orchard, my goal is to do that. I do coffee individual meetups and speak one-on-one with individuals. I get them synced into the Jewish community, whether that's at Beth Am or other Jewish organizations. If someone engages when they're young with an organization or a bunch of different organizations that they're aligned with, they're more likely to continue engaging throughout their life. The goal is larger than Beth Am. Right? The goal is to engage Jewish millennials and add value to their lives, whether they become congregants in the future or not. Secondly, we engage openly. We want to have the hard discussions about learning, opportunities to discuss current events and feelings surrounding things like laws and wars. The Orchard aims to be an inclusive space that can open the door for people to express themselves when hard times happen. And third, and possibly the most important step, is to engage in something called relationship-based engagement, using a heartbeat engagement model. So I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. I recently participated in training with Gather DC, an organization that is a pioneer in relationship-based engagement centered around Jewish millennials. We aim to bring Judaism to meet the goals of the members of our community. The main tenets of relationship-based engagement are meaningful moments happen more successful when you're in relationship. Relationship with each other, relationship with friends, relationship with family. We don't need more programs. We need people to go with. We need to prioritize connections over numbers. More than any previous generation, millennials aim to integrate who they are with what they do to find meaning in life. Given this emphasis on the doing as a part of who I am, programming needs to be informed by the values of those around us. Heartbeat engagement models allow for the big heartbeats, such as Shabbat dinners and other events, but also small heartbeats, such as grabbing coffee or sending a text. Those small heartbeats are what makes community strong, while the big heartbeats can serve as a gathering space for community. This may mean that instead of a large Passover Seder at Beth Am for young adults, we look at doing home-based Passover Seders where we provide Haggadot and Seder plates to empower people to host their own Seders with their own friends, given that friendships tend to be high on the list of priorities for millennials. We need to expand our creative thinking beyond traditional engagement. So I come into the Orchard with my own set of biases, and I have to wade through biases held by other people. Much like the example I gave in the beginning of this conversation that I've had many, many times, in the last 5 years, sometimes it can be different and even quite othering to be different than those around you. The questions we ask and the biases that we come in with can impact how we engage with this new generation of diverse Jewish millennials. I hope that young adults will come into the Orchard because they are proud to be Jewish, they have found connection, and they have found a place that is accepting, diverse, and willing to pursue meaning around their unique goals and life circumstances. I pick Judaism every single day. However, I still have to ask myself, why be Jewish? Well, I don't know how else to be authentically me, but I hope that you'll continue to ask that question, why be Jewish? And use relationship-based engagement as the center for your Jewish life as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yasher Koach, Emily.